The volatility of the crypto market in this current environment is definitely not for the faint-hearted, as we see a whipsaw effect with prices rallying aggressively towards the upside and then the next day giving up a lot of those gains. The question is, should you be bailing out of your positions, or should you be treating this as yet another opportunity to be getting back into the market, especially if you did miss the previous pumps? We'll discuss that and a whole lot more in today's show. Smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Let's get straight into the show content. Of course, sticking out like a sore thumb on the daily time frame is Trump, which is now down almost 40%, right? And the question is it over? Is it over? You can actually vote in the poll over there. Go through to the YouTube video and vote. Has Trump coin topped out? Currently, the votes are sitting in with 50% saying yes and 32% saying no, it's a short-term top, and 17% of you think that the bottom is in and this thing is going to continue to run it turbo. So make sure you put your vote in over there. We'll have a look at that. Here is the Trump coin. I do have a little bit of alpha of what could potentially be coming next, so please do stay tuned for that. Well, first, let's analyze the Trump chart over here. Looking at it on the hourly time frame, you can see it is forming a massive trading range. This is going to be a very, very important zone. I think the line in the sand, if I were trading this, which I'm not, by the way, guys, risk to reward wise, it just didn't make sense to me. My highest upside potential was a 10x. And when I do take on riskier meme coin trade opportunities, I'm looking for much more than that. So consequently, I'm not in this trade. But if I were, I'd be very, very carefully watching this key zone over here at 25, right? We'll expand this a little bit higher. We'll make it nice and yellow and bright. 25.42. That is going to be a key zone. If you do start to break below that, you do open up the possibility of continuing to bleed out all the way to much, much lower levels. So the question is this trade over? Is there going to be any other opportunities? Well, one thing that I would do is I'll go and have a look specifically at Baron Trump. He just tweeted this, right? Hi at Solana. Very, very interesting. So is he going to be releasing a coin? I'm not 100% certain yet. Whether you like the Trump family or not, there is always a trade opportunity over there, because when there's volatility, there's a trade opportunity. So I would recommend you go through, follow him over there. Baron Trump, that's of course one of the youngest of the lot when it comes to launching a coin. We'll see if there is any sort of a trade. I'll monitor that over the course of today. Now, the important thing that we spoke about was the catalyst of what this whole Trump trade could be bringing, which is most specifically new retail interest. New retail interest would bring new volume into the market, new deposits onto exchanges, and that is essentially the lifeblood of the crypto market to continue to drive adoption and drive prices towards the upside. And if we do take a look at the 7-day exchange volume, well, it's still increasing towards the upside. Now we really need to see follow through, which means if you are bullish on the market and at least you have the hopium that we're going to have a continuation of this bull run and it's not topping out over here, what you really need to see is you need to see prices start to bounce alongside this volume increase. Otherwise, what's going to happen is this volume is going to start to reject from the $100 billion mark, which is a very, very key zone over here. You can see this is a big SR flip region. We want to see, previous resistance flipped into support. And if it does reject from here, then of course, this is now testing as resistance. And then it's probably going to come back down. And that means we're going to go through another lull period of a ranging market, possibly even a deeper correction. So we'll talk a little bit about this. There are some other major economic events that are going to be coming up. Most notably, I think it's on the 29th of January, the FOMC will be coming out over there where they determine the interest rates, right? We do have a massive amount of volume just below this cluster of price action, and it's sticking out like a sore thumb over here at $95,000, just below $95,000. So for the short term, expect that this could draw price into it like a magnet, which would mean slightly further downside. But as long as we're seeing closing price action, specifically above the $100,000 mark, the hope does remain alive. So expect that before you start to see massive expansion beyond the $100,000 mark, it is going to be one of those environments where you gain it, you lose it, you gain it, you lose it, you gain it, you lose it. And we've seen this multiple times until such a point as it desensitizes the market from that $100,000 psychological level, and that becomes the norm. That allows the fear and greed to completely reset and move more towards the neutral territory. And that can, at least as long as it's backed by momentum and the volume, drive prices higher into those higher bull market targets, right? So that's one thing to look at over there. What else could bring the next move for the crypto market, as long as the volume continues to remain towards the upside, it could be a breakdown in the DXY. Now, the DXY has broken out of a high time frame range. Remember, the DXY is your dollar index, and the dollar index, when rising towards the upside, makes for a very, very challenging time in crypto. Now, it's not to say that crypto cannot move in a bull run. Crypto can absolutely move in a bull run, even if this is increasing towards the upside. It just makes for at least an easier trade when you start to see this breakdown. Now, the reason that I mention it is because you are coming into that golden pocket, most notably the 0.65 to 0.618 of the trading range. And if we do see a rejection from the yellow zone over here, and we can start to break down some of those key levels, most notably I have 107.76, that could start to reverse this trend. You might break back into the trading range, at which point you view this as a deviation of the trading range. And when you deviate a trading range, at minimum, you can target back down to the mid-range. And if crypto is holding up above $100,000, while simultaneously we're seeing this drop over here, you should expect that that will bring some additional fuel into the crypto market. All right, so just quick one over here. Danny D, is this pre-recorded? No, sir, it is not. This is always live, right? Very, very rarely will I ever do a pre-recorded video. All right, let's continue on over here. Now, what else could bring the liquidity into the crypto market to continue to drive that volume towards the upside? Well, as per Marty Party over here, you probably want to draw your attention to the second line, right? This is, in terms of the executive orders. They now, he says, executive orders are now in law and live on the whitehouse.gov as they have been signed, right? So point number 2, delivering emergency price relief for American families and defeating the cost of living crisis. This could come in the form of quantitative easing. Now, we don't 100% know yet. We need to see what comes next from the US. But lining this up as well with the FOMC, which is soon going to be coming up, this could be one of those signs that we look for towards the end of the market cycles. There's usually some form of quantitative easing, and we will pay attention to this as more and more information does unfold. The S&P 500 over here has broken the downsloping trend line. The stock markets, of course, will be open today. Yesterday, they were closed due to the inauguration within the US. So we are going to see whether the market is going to react to the inauguration as a positive or a negative. I am inclined to believe that this should probably lead to continuation up. It's really important to follow what the stock market is doing, because the stock market will ultimately drive crypto's next move. So keep an eye out on this. If we do see continuation over here, officially closing candles above the last lower high, that may be your first sign that you've broken structure and the bottom is in for the stock market, and we can lead to that continuation higher. So at the end of the day, here is your ultimate highs at about 6,000. Remember, a lot of the analysts that previously were calling for 6,000 over a year ago on the stock market have now called for 2025 to be 7,000 points on the stock market. And if we get 7,000 points on the stock market, of course, this is going to drive crypto towards the upside. And we should be in that banana zone at that particular point in time. And everything does line up. We'll have a look at the timing cycle as well. And most specifically focusing on the monthly RSI, which has been a great indicator in determining when you do enter into that banana zone. And we're starting to see very, very early signs that we might be breaking through the key 80 mark very, very soon. If we do, that is going to drive massive price action towards the upside. So if you do want to trade these things like the DXY, Forex stocks, commodities, even crypto pairs, you can do that in your one-stop shop, that being Prime XBT. Currently, I am looking at Japan over here, just for that yen cash carry trade unwind that we saw previously when Japan decided on their interest rates. I want to keep an eye out on this. You can, of course, also trade the S&P 500 futures over there. So if you do want to trade that, remember there's a link below that entitles you to 20% deposit, right? Sign up deposit. So if you put in $10,000, you'll get $2,000 with that. If you put in $1,000, they'll give you $200, which you can use to trade for free. Link in the description below over there. So keeping an eye out on this, US FOMC statement is going to be coming up on Wednesday, the 29th of January. So it would be really good at the very, very least to see Bitcoin range and hold that $100,000 mark, especially on a closing basis, right? So if you look at this from David Bailey, says, got confirmation tonight that our EOS are among the first, right? The executive orders are among the first 200. I have no idea what made it in, but good news cometh. So this is at least some speculation that there's going to be something in there around crypto. So we'll wait for that information. I will update you probably sometime this week around that. Now, going to Bitcoin and that RSI over here, if you do look at the RSI, here's your RSI currently trending towards the upside on the monthly, sitting just below 76. We've spoken about this many times before. Focus on the greens over here. This is where your market cycle tops and the banana zone tends to take place. This is where all your metrics go off the charts and you start to see your risk metrics becoming very, very heated. It's usually also the environment where you start to see the pi cycle top indicator signaling a major top. Remember, the pi cycle top indicator needs price to extend so far beyond the 111-day and 350-day moving average that ultimately it pulls the 111-day moving average into the 350, and usually that is ultimately where you start to see your cycle tops. And we haven't yet actually hit in this particular cycle the banana zone. Every other cycle we have seen that in the form of the RSI putting in two major tops, which is why we have seen double top scenarios, or at least two major peaks within the prior bull markets. So just lining that up with the price chart over here and expanding this ever so slightly in terms of focusing on where our timing cycles are. Remember, the timing cycle and the expectation is that we top somewhere towards the end of Q3, beginning of Q4, possibly in October and November of this year. And that would most likely look something like this. I would expect some sort of a local top. We did speak about that yesterday, possibly in March or April, and then maybe a sell in May scenario where you do draw down all the way back to some of those key levels, possibly even filling in that CME futures gap, which is actually sitting at about $77,000. And then you might lead to continuation higher. The point that I'm trying to make over here is until such time as we see the RSI trending well above the 80 mark over here, it's going to be very, very unlikely that the cycle has topped. The theme of this crypto cycle at the moment has really been the last couple of months that everybody's trying to time the cycle top. This is usually not the way that cycle tops form, where everybody's saying that the top is in, which I'm currently seeing again on X or Twitter, calls that probably the recent move that we just had yesterday has marked the top for Bitcoin. Until such time as the majority of people are only calling for higher and higher and higher prices, it's very, very unlikely that we've topped, and we can utilize, tools and metrics like this to assess where we are at. Have we hit this regression line that we've previously seen? So I will be waiting for something like that. That's the good news for you guys out there, especially if you are in altcoins. I'll also show you a little bit of a hopium chart around your altcoins and why it might give you some breathing room in the coming weeks and months. Remember, we also looked at the volatility expansion, which is now based on the recent pullback on the lower timeframes, recontracted the Bollinger Band with percentile to the downside. And we've seen this before, right? If we look at this over here, you can see sometimes it contracts, right? Attempts to expand, recontracts again, attempts to expand, recontracts again, and then eventually you get the big move, right? So could it be that we're getting something similar to that? Of course, it's absolutely possible. And then we'll assess what's happening with the stochastic RSI. So similar to the RSI on the monthly scale, for the weekly scale, we spoke about this yesterday, until such time as we have the volatility in the yellow zone, we have the stochastic RSI in the yellow zone, and possibly even the price in the yellow zone over here. It probably does present an opportunity to get some exposure, at least into undervalued coins. According to the short-term bubble risk, well, we're not really at any major risk of a top because we're only sitting right now in the 1.25 to 1.5 territory. And we've never seen in the history of Bitcoin a Bitcoin top when we're at the 1.2 to 1.5 zone. We have every single time put in our major cycle tops between the 1.75 and the 2. Most notably, the 1.75 to 2. You can see cycle top over there, cycle top, cycle top, cycle top, and local top, cycle top over here as well. And we haven't yet seen that, right? So that's a little bit of hopium. Now, if we are following to perfection what we saw in the 2017 cycle, which has been the best fit trend line, right? 2016 leading into the 2017 cycle top. That would be this particular bull run that's following the most similar, the one in purple. Then you can see that you get rapid expansion, right? And if you get rapid expansion into day number 860, that could set in a local top somewhere around the month of April, right? So beginning of April to the end of April, somewhere within that vicinity, you'd be looking for a cycle top, which would mean theoretically, if you're about to go parabolic, then you will be looking to buy the dip, especially if the TA is in agreement. Now, it is, of course, not the greatest look that this candle sold off like that. But nevertheless, when you focus on the probabilities and the stronger areas of support or resistance, the answer is that you have more reason to be bullish than you do to be bearish. And the reason for that is because we have all the EMAs that matter, most notably the 9 and the 18 in a bullish posture, holding underneath price action, whilst we simultaneously have price holding and closing above the 0.382 fib. That's when we take price from the low to the high. If this is in fact a confirmed local top, that is going to be a very, very important level, usually between the 0.5 and the 0.382 fib retracement, which is coming in between $99,200 and $101,600. That is essentially your sweet spot, and it lines up with some beautiful confluence there on the daily time frame. Not only that, but price action is actually still above the yellow line, which means your RSI continues to trend towards the upside on the daily time frame. And if your daily RSI is trending towards the upside, of course, that has implications into the weekly, which then has implications into the monthly, and can continue to keep the momentum and the hope alive. Not only that, when we dive a little bit deeper into these support levels, which price is currently caught right now above, which is a good sign, it means gaining acceptance above a key level, then we can also look to the 4-hour time frame and we'll see something very, very similar, right? The 4-hour time frame also is finding support at the 50 EMA, which is the red line over there, and slightly below that you have your 200 EMA. The importance of this is that you currently do have a golden cross. Now, the golden crosses and death crosses, meaning when the 50 crosses above or below the 200 EMA, is only significant when you are not ranging. Right now, you are ranging on the daily time frame. But the reason that I would start to look at this in a more serious fashion is because you could be at the start of a trending move. Now, you would only unfortunately get that confirmation if we start to close multiple candles above that 106,830 level, which is going to be your prior range high. So as it currently stands, it's looking like a short-term double top, which did its pullback. It came into the 0.382 to 0.5. You have the confluence of the 9 and the 18 EMA on the daily time frame. Plus now you have confluence of the golden cross, which very, very, very often you'll see price will suck into that golden cross like a magnet, right? So price overextends in a big move that causes the golden cross. And then usually following that overextension, you get some sort of a drawback or a magnetic pull into that cross. And now we've seen that. So the question is, will bulls step in over here? If bulls do step in over here, that could be the opportunity or the major high low that's going to lead to continuation above the trading range over here, which should break price out into a proper trending move, right? So if you see something like that, that was your major high low. This would therefore be your buy zone. And then you're looking for rapid price appreciation towards the upside. Now, of course, as a trader, you must always analyze things from both perspectives, and you usually side with wherever the probability is the highest. There's always a possibility that this does not hold up. And at the very, very least, if that were to be true, what I would still expect then is a little bit of a bounce over here and then leading into a lower high. So we need to watch for that lower high. If we do start to set in a lower high around that $106,000 zone, which is just below the range high, then yes, maybe you run it all the way back down to the bottom of the trading range, at which point you would fill some of those zones that we were looking at over here at the $95,000 area in terms of where the majority of the stop losses are, right? Run the stops and then run it back up, which means then you continue to be stuck within a trading range. So that's the way that I'm viewing the low time frames, planning out multiple different scenarios. At the end of the day, you had your downsloping trend line, you broke out, you had the back test. I know some people, that are new to trading may be confused by all of this. Is it up, down, left, right, or sideways? Which one are you looking at? Well, I just told you that you're going with the side where the probability is the highest. According to everything that we're looking at in terms of confluence levels across multiple different timeframes, the answer would be that the probability is much higher that you've back tested into this trend line over here, creating a possibility for a bump and run scenario, which ultimately means I lean slightly bullish, right? Higher low, that's what you're looking at. Low, higher low over here. This was your first higher high because you broke structure on the left-hand side over there. And now you were looking for your very first high low. Buying the first high low is always more risky than buying the second high low, right? So if you had a lower high, a low, now you have a higher high, and you have a high low. This would theoretically be the first high low. The safer trade, if you are somebody that's conservative out there, right? Then you're looking for the safer trade would be break up, come back test into the range high. This becomes not the first high low, but the second high low. That means you would be a buyer of the top of the range high at about 106,900. And that means you have better odds that you're going to have continuation up, right? So I think that should really make sense and resonate with a lot of people, even if you are new to the markets, right? If you are new to the markets, you can also do Whale School totally for free. Let's quickly go to the link. We're currently taking signups right now. Look in the description below. There it is, Whale School. Click on that specific link. It will take you through to this page. Make sure not to Google Whale School because you might go to a scam site. Put in your email address and basically you'll be emailed what to do next. It's completely for free, covered by the sponsors that are listed below. You have 8 days, 4 hours left to join. I think we're over 90% capacity. So you probably need to do it right now if you haven't already. All right, let's continue on over here. So the Donald Trump project, here comes your hopium, right? Remember I told you I'd give you a couple of tidbits of hopium for the altcoin sector, right? So a little bit of hopium is that you have the World Liberty Finance, which is essentially Trump's crypto project. They've been buying ETH like crazy. They've now staked 15.7 million worth of ETH. So they obviously believe in some sort of a long-term will have some sort of a long-term outlook specifically on ETH. What I will mention as well is in alignment, this is going to be, let's go back to the monthly over here. This is going to be a slow moving chart. There's absolutely no guarantee that price is going to reach this trend line or even reclaim the 80 when it comes to the monthly RSI, right? For all we know that this could end up hitting the 80, rejecting, and that could be the cycle top, right? So I don't want to, the statement I'm about to make is not an absolute. It's everything in trading is relative to the latest information and at least the odds that are currently present, which change on a day-to-day basis. But what I want to say over here is if the RSI plays out like it previously has, and it does move up to the regression trend line and start to find some sort of a local top above the 80, between the 80 and about the 90 zone over there, which would be my expectation. That would be the base case. Remember, a base case is not the only case. You have a bear case, base case, and a bull case. That would be, a bull case would be you hit this trend line and that's where the cycle top comes in. My base case would be you find a top somewhere between 80 and 90, and my bear case would be that you pretty much just start to roll over here, and that's the end of the cycle, right? So let's go in alignment with the base case. My base case would therefore suggest that the fact that you have, let's go back to this chart over here, Trump still buying and staking ETH and only just entering the game, this kind of gives the green light to a lot of other skeptics and people that were on the line when it comes to crypto, right? This is open season, if you will. This creates open season for other normies to start to enter into the space. This means they will still probably also copy him and they will buy Ethereum. And until such time as Ethereum breaks out of this falling wedge formation, which again, I've told you, wait for the trigger, right? You don't necessarily just need to be buying it down here in hopes that it does that. You can simply just wait for the break of structure. And as price continues to bleed down, we keep adjusting the break of structure level. And all you have to do is just wait for the reclaim of that level. Until such time as ETH BTC is trading higher, leaving this falling wedge formation, which is traditionally a bearish formation that you expect to break towards the upside. Until that happens, basically the hope is alive that you will still get that altcoin season, right? And that should be in alignment with that monthly RSI trending towards the upside of there. And that should trade in at least it should trade opposite to what you're seeing on the Bitcoin dominance. Now, just very, very quickly, I'm just going to go on to a high time frame like the 5-day. Remember, the Bitcoin dominance is the inverse of what the ETH BTC ratio is. This is a rising wedge, whereas ETH BTC is a falling wedge. So when Bitcoin dominance drops properly, you should see ETH BTC also breaking out properly. And it has taken longer than expected. I mean, I definitely thought by now we would see proper expansion of the ETH BTC chart between the month of December and January. January is not over yet, so I could still be right. But nevertheless, until that happens, there's still always going to be an opportunity. That is your copium, right? I think I have a copium image for you guys here somewhere. Where is your copium image? I had one. Where is it? Let's go to the copium. Here we go. Copium. Where's the copium? I've lost the copium image for you guys. But nevertheless, that is your copium, right? That's your coping mechanism. You're waiting for a proper breakdown. Is it below resistance, or is it above support? That's what you have to ask yourself. Right now, Bitcoin dominance is below resistance, which means you expect a further drop towards the downside. So we'll continue to watch this space. As this drops, ETH-BTC should break out. We are looking for that. Now, what are going to be the best coins to get into? Early buyers will make millions on these crypto picks. How do you make $1 million in crypto? It's very easy. All you need to do is put $3 million into the market, wait a couple of months, and you will definitely have $1 million. Okay, for most people, that's going to be the scenario, right? But on a serious note, how do you find some of the top picks? Well, this Trump play is, of course, building momentum, and it's a little bit of a narrative at the moment. And everything in crypto is built on what could potentially happen next. Markets are heavily driven by what may be coming next, right? So first, it's essentially the Trump inauguration. Next, it's the FOMC, and that's the most important FOMC meeting in the entire world until the next FOMC and the next CPI. And the market is constantly forward-looking. What the market is going to be forward-looking to next is how Trump may build at least a powerhouse around US cryptos. And what he may do, at least this is the major speculation, what he may do is he may create some sort of low tax rate or no tax rate on US-based crypto projects. And I actually just saw this morning, that's actually why Phantom or Sonic is looking to try and move their headquarters into the US, right? All these guys want to be now domiciled in the US so that possibly they could benefit from what may be coming. We don't have any solid information on what comes next, but if you go onto CoinGecko, you can actually now rank this by categories. So you can go through to the categories over here, and you can actually have a look. Where did the categories go to now? Let's just quickly pull this up. There we go. Click on the categories. You got smart contract platforms, layer ones, proof of work, proof of stake, made in the USA, right? Nothing's better than those things made in the USA, especially if you're from the USA, right? That's your belief. So you can look at all the coins that are supposedly classified as made in the USA, and you can start to look for opportunities over here. You got XRP, you got Solana, USDC is obviously a stable coin, so there's no play there. Cardano, Chainlink, Avalanche, Stellar Lumens, Sui, Hedera, Litecoin, Uniswap. We got the Trump token, of course. We got NEAR, Aptos, Ondo, Algorand, Render, Filecoin, Optimism, Stacks, Injective, so forth. And the list goes on, right? One of the things that you can do is you can go and chart any of these coins that are doing well, that are in an uptrend, that are possibly about to break out into a trending move. And those are going to be the solid picks. So I'm going to give you some of the ones that I know off the top of my head. Of course, Solana. Solana is going to be one of them. There's a lot of bullish things coming out for Solana. Remember, it's narrative-based, forward-looking. People are going to look forward to these major news announcements around Solana, which is going to be coming out soon. That's one to put on your list, right? Sui, of course, one of the biggest up-and-comers. Also one to put on your list, made in the USA. Look towards the key levels. Sui could still break below $4. It might be going through a temporary range. But ultimately, if you're buying it as close to range low support, this is probably going to be a good opportunity. The Trump coin, right? I mean, I would wait for the hype to die down. I've never in my entire life seen a coin more hype. And very rarely do FOMO buyers turn out to be profitable, right? They might be profitable for the first 10 to 15 minutes of FOMOing into position, but very rarely a week later will they be in profit, right? And that's how we're starting to see a bit of distribution right now on the Trump token. The great news about Solana as well is, of course, Trump is being built on Solana, which gives additional validity to the chain and brings even more people into the space. I also read that exchanges are starting to run out of Solana, given the hype around the Trump coin over there. Whether that's true or not, I can't verify. Another one to look at is NEAR protocol. Remember, the AI narrative has been hot and will probably still continue to be hot, leading into the blow-off tops for the stock market as well as the crypto market. And NEAR classifies as both an L1 and AI all in one, right? So, and it's made in the USA. Another good option over there, right? Render, also not a bad option over there. If you do want some of that AI exposure, you can kind of class this into the zone. I've said personally, I believe that the best picks for this cycle, you have to go back to some of the older videos, is going to be layer ones, AI, and meme coins. I still believe that. I still believe these are going to be some of the top picks. Trump's not necessarily going to be my top pick meme coin, but I still think that the meme coins will do phenomenally well, right? Hyperliquid, not necessarily made in the USA, but one to look at because all-time highs 2 days in a row, reaching, massive volume, right? Huge volume over here. $22 billion worth of trading volume over there in 24 hours, 2 days in a row. This is big, right? It's been very hard to value Hyperliquid. How do you value this, right? It hasn't been around long enough. But someone made an attempted valuation. He looked through a whole bunch of different metrics over here. Case in crypto. Maybe I'll make a retweet. Go follow me there on Twitter. I'll say a nice take. There you go. If you guys want to go and have a look at that, go and have a look at the valuation of Hyperliquid. I have allocated into this. Long story short, the TLDR conclusion. He says, probably missed some things, but I think this covers most of my thoughts. And he says, I truly believe there has never been a more mispriced asset in all of crypto. And I've been doing this for quite some time, right? If you don't feel comfortable being naked long right now, you can also long hype and short other things to be in a delta neutral position, right? So that is something that you can do. I'm long on hype right now. Maybe I should get longer, but basically, according to the valuation, this should be placing Hyperliquid just below Solana at a number 6, right? Between number 5 and number 6 on CoinMarketCap. Easily putting it into the top 10. Where's Hyperliquid right now? Hyperliquid sitting at 28, right? So there is your Hyperliquid chart. Remember, we don't have too much price history. When everyone was FOMOing into this position, I made that same statement, which was that very rarely do FOMO buyers get rewarded. Wait for some sort of a local top to confirm. Wait for a big drawdown. We got that drawdown and then start to scale into the position. Ultimately, this could be it, right? I could easily see the possibility for a bit of a W formation. Reclaiming the yearly open would break the neckline of that W formation, and then you're starting to look at higher prices. We spoke about clearing certain levels. Basically, get above the yearly open. It's going to be $24. Get above $24, and this should start to mark towards the upside, right? This should start to get a nice, beautiful upside move. So that is Hyperliquid. We can have a look quickly at Solana. How's Solana doing? So in terms of the key levels, well, it obviously printed in not only a local top, but anyway, a higher high, breaking that structure. And now you might get a throwback all the way into 217. You are holding right now, as it currently stands, I think exactly at that 50% level. So there it is. We've spoken about that a lot, the importance of that 50% level. If you can continue to close above 232, it will look much stronger and healthier than coming all the way back down. But if you lose 232, your next major zone is $218. And, Solana also undervalued, right? Undervalued in terms of where it is price-wise. This should be moving a lot higher very quickly. So look for the high-low over here, deviate that level, and then continuation onwards and upwards on Solana. At the very least, I think you should get some sort of a bounce to fill this inefficiency from this wick over here. You might come back there one more time. If you do reject from there, then expect Solana probably forms a bit of a trading range. Just quickly touching again on SUI over here. Let's maybe go to this chart over here on SUI. And then I do want to also talk about dusk, right? Let's go to SUI over here. So there's SUI. Here's the SUI chart. Remember, I said that no one wants to hear it, but there is a possibility that SUI's, at least bullish price action, parabolic advancements have started to near its end. As you can see, you have started to lose multiple candles below that parabola. So I'm actually going to delete that. And we said the first target off of that would be a move down into 390. And then we'll see if it can manage to hold that 390. That will, of course, be one of the first good signs that we can be looking at. Right, quickly going into some of the other tokens over here. We can scroll down into the meme coin sector. How's Giga holding up? So Giga is still one of the strongest memes out there, holding up at those highs. How's SPX? Okay, SPX also doing pretty decently. Butthole has been ripped, right? This one's not doing too well, all the way back down into the bottom of the trading range. When risk returns, most of these things will go up. Here's MOG coming back all the way to a key level. Here is your major area of confluence, right? So I'm going to quickly price label it for you over here. If you do see MOG dropping down anywhere between there, a lot of zeros, so I'm just going to put them on there. You can screenshot that, but looking for something like that, right? Probably a drop into that zone, holds that area, And that's going to be, you got macro high, low, and another macro high, low coming into that zone. I see you guys say Goku is exploding. Let's have a look at Goku quickly if it is exploding. Let's grab our DEX tools over here. How is Goku doing? It is exploding, 61% up. Absolutely insane. $20 million market cap. This is definitely one of my top picks, right? I don't know if you guys know, you can actually go and try and solve the riddles on their Twitter page. So go through to Goku's Twitter page over there. I think it's Goku AI that's running the riddles. And there's a bounty. It's like a treasure hunt, right? If you solve the puzzle or the riddle, you'll receive tokens, right? The longer it takes to solve the riddle every day, the bounty goes up. So let's say it's $500, then 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, and so forth. I don't know the increments of what they're going up in, but yeah, looking really, really good. We want to see Goku now clear this trading range. Let's just clean that up over there. So what we want to see is we want to see Goku, here it is. What is going on with this damn trend line? One more second. Okay, we're going to have to live with it. There we go. This is the zone, right? So let's run it this way. There it is. So we're looking for Goku to get back above this zone over here. 0.02276. That will start to look really, really good for continuation. All right, going on to Dusk. I wanted to mention Dusk, right? Dusk is a privacy coin, part of the real world asset sector. I think real world asset fits as a sector narrowly behind either meme coins or AI. I place it in the top 5 in terms of sectors. I think it will do really, really well. So a couple of those to look at. We did super well, of course, on the Mantra trade. So let's quickly find that. Here we go. We got Dusk. There's Dusk. You have Dusk currently in a low time frame range. Your high time frame range is coming in all the way down around this $1 region. But if you do start to see an SR flip in this zone over here, a low time frame range region is going to be, there we go, run it across right into this zone. You can see prior resistance, try to flip it into support, eventually flipped it into support, ran it up. If you do flip this into support, this is a decent accumulation zone. If you do end up losing that level, then the main accumulation zone is going to be coming just slightly lower than that, right? So Dusk is also MiCA compliant, which is part of the EU. So they're part of this massive raise in terms of getting 300 million into the real world asset sector. Keep an eye out on Dusk as it drops. If it does get below that 10-cent region, that's a screaming buy, right? That's a screaming buy. The other one that I want to have a look at is Checks, right? If you look over here at Checks, Shintai Network, keep an eye out on this one. If you do start to print a higher low over here, this is going to start to look really good. You have a little bit of an inefficiency over there. Anything that drops down towards just a little bit below 30 cents is a buy zone for Checks, right? How's Mantra doing? So Mantra, I think if it holds this level, it will be looking good, but understand there's a massive inefficiency over here. So I wouldn't go too heavy in Mantra. I think that risk to reward, there are better options, but if you are looking for a trade, Mantra, you're going to be taking as close to 320 as possible. All right. What other ones have we got over here today? Let's just quickly see it in case we missed something. So Dusk mainnet is live. If you do want to trade these tokens, by the way, they are listed over here. If you want to buy Dusk, you can get it over here on Bybit. If you use the link in the description below, there you go. Bybit will qualify you for up to $30,000 in sign-up bonuses, right? So use the link below if you do want to join over there. All right, let me know what else. Fog, yes, we can have a look at Fog. I saw as well. Let me find this tweet. This was absolutely crazy. Here it is, right? Look at this. Have a look at this. When it comes to Fog, right? This is AIXBT, one of the automated bots that's obviously having a big conversation with itself over here. A whale that loaded $4 million into memes early in January keeps accumulating Fog after an 80% retrace. It added another 4.57 million tokens alongside WIF and PopCat, right? And then he follows on with that. Fog structure, 33.8 million in daily volume, $780,000 smart money inflow past 24-hour market cap. And then you got this other bot who came out as a grifter and says to him, 780K is a breadcrumb, bro, in the crypto forest. But even Hansel and Gretel found their way with smaller clues. These are two bots talking to each other. And then 𝗥𝗢𝗓 says, the real clue is the whales averaging down. Wolves don't waste time with crumbs. Can you guys believe that where we've gone in the space? Anyway, let's go to 𝗥. That was the question with 𝗥 while two bots talk to each other over there. So what does a human have to say about 𝗥? Well, a human would say that it's up 15% almost today, which is not too bad. It's coming to a very, very key level. And as a human, what I would say is if you lose this level, then you go to the next level, which is going to be pretty brutal, right? So if you can reverse the trend from here on 𝗥, that will be a good sign. Let's clean some of this up over here. It failed the last important level, led into a lower high and continuation down. Let's just see percentage-wise. If it fails that, 58% further downside is a possibility. I think that there was some internal conflicts with these teams, at least I've heard via the grapevine, and that's possibly the reason why this thing has been whacked like this. But if this can hold this level over here and you can break structure, you need to get above 25 cents, that will start to look good. If it leads into a lower high, honestly expect that it's probably going to do this. Remember, meme coins are a brutal, brutal game. It's very, very important to time your meme coin runs with when the risk is back on in the market, right? You need to see a risk on environment to be heavily exposed to memes. The good news is based on all the various different hopium factors that I have given you today, ETH BTC is at rock bottom, which means it trades at a higher velocity to what this chart would be, right? So if ETH BTC is smashed, then of course expect that the higher risk assets will also be smashed, things like meme coins. But as soon as this breaks out over here, expect that's where you're going to have an absolute field day in those specific positions. Again, guys, if you want to learn more about all of this, link is in the description below over here. It will take you through to Whale School. Sign up over there. If you want to take your trading to the next level in terms of Discord, remember the Discord is where it's at. Here you have Josh obviously updating on a couple of trades. We have 𝗕𝗘𝗧𝗕𝗏 as well updating on his trades over here. So we are trading daily, and you can actually have a look in terms of what the members are doing. The members are profitable, right? A lot of profitable trades, 103% up on PopCat, 247, 490%. I think this is the strongest community in the world when it comes to any Discord. There is a link below if you do want to join. Sign up below while it's still open. I am going to close it off. I'm 100% going to close off the Discord when we do start to expand in the next phase. We want a strong community. All right, that's it from me, folks. I'll see all of you on the next one. I hope you have an absolutely lovely day out there, and hope that volume continues, right? But hope is not a strategy. So trade the chart in front of you, and I'll see you all on the next one. Cheers for now.